Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network, Monday, February 12th. Happy to have you in the studio alongside Kevin Coleman. I'm Frank Granito, getting you ready for what will be the final week of the regular season and what should be an exciting finish to the girls' basketball season. Kevin will have the race for the regular season championship culminating tonight. Trumbull and Norwalk both 13-1, 17-1 overall. Going to be a huge game. We're excited to have that one. The race for 8th place looks like it's going to be a blast with Ludlow currently holding the advantage. Darien and Danbury not behind. The Falcons get Staples tonight, who's fallen all the way down to 7th, if you can believe it. Ludlow, a win, and they're in tonight. So we've got a lot going on. Of course, the FCX Championship for wrestling took place over the weekend. We'll get you caught up on that. John Kovac, Mike Stuppy will join us. Plenty of hockey to get you caught up on. Boys basketball, playoff race heating up as well. We're going to have a big game later on this week. So we have got a lot to do, my friend.
We have our hands full. And you look at this week's matchups. But look at next week. We got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, playoff action starting next week. But a big game tonight that you fully expect to see these two teams make it pretty far in the FCX girls basketball tournament. You got Norwalk traveling to Trumbull. Two teams who are very similar in more than one way. I think you look at them both defensively, they're very strong, very sound. We know how good Steve Tobish, the head coach of the Trumbull Eagles, we know how much he emphasizes on team defense for the Trumbull Eagles, which has been their strong suit this season. But they both teams have players who can score and take over games. Ashley Wilson, Julie Keckler on both sides. So it's going to be a fun matchup tonight. Expect to see a good turnout in terms of student section as well, so you can expect to see the Black Hole being pretty loud tonight over at Trumbull High School.
Oh, you mentioned playoffs. We'll have them on the air next week. We're actually going to have girls basketball Saturday this weekend. It'll be the quarterfinals, yeah. So we will have those games for you. That'll be a blast. Really, we're going to have every FCX postseason match moving forward for you here. It is going to be a lot of fun down the stretch. I think you're going to see a lot of wide open tournaments. I can't look at a tournament right now and really say there is one definitive team that, oh, they're a lock to win. Girls hockey, you got 3 teams that realistically you think anyone could win. We're going to learn a lot more about Trumbull and Norwalk tonight in girls basketball, but behind them, I think you've got a Ridgefield team that's really found its identity. Stanford, of course, is going to be competitive. Ward is playing extremely well. Don't sleep on the Falcons if they sneak in. Boys hockey then, too. You know, that's a division right now that's really, jostling for position. Staples still in second. Darien with that comeback win against New Canaan. Fairfield's in the mix. Who's going to be the last seed to get in? Of course, Greenwich and Ridgefield both playing so well. And then boys basketball, literally pull a name out of a hat.
Yes, seriously.
That's probably about the best way to figure out the odds of that tournament.
And if you look back to this time last year, remember how good the tournaments were in hockey and basketball on both the girls and boys sides. So we can only hope we get to see that again this year. So many exciting games that went down to the wire, some buzzer beaters, some late winning goals, both in basketball and hockey. So we expect to see another season here, another FCX tournament in hockey and basketball where it's going to be filled with a lot of high drama.
It is Monday, Kevin. Let's meet the nominees for our week 6 Athlete of the Week in the winter season. 8 nominees in total. Kevin has our first female nominee.
Now coming from Greenwich Gymnastics, they're coming off a big weekend there at Adnerus. The Jesus won the all-around championship with a score of 37.65 to help lead the Greenwich Cardinals to her 3rd consecutive FCX title on Saturday. The senior has been the FCX champion for 3 straight seasons as she finished 1st in the floor exercises and vault, 2nd on the uneven bars, and 4th on the balance beam.
All right, our first male nominee is of the Danbury track and field squad. Malcolm Going helped win 3 races for Danbury as the Hatters captured the Class LL State Championship in New Haven Saturday. Going won the 600-meter run, was a part of both Hatters winning relay teams in the 4x2 and the 4x4. The 4x4 team time of 3:28.77 broke a Class LL record, which was set last year by Danbury, another relay team that Going was a part of. Kev.
And tonight we're going to see here Ashley Wilson of Norwalk basketball. Wilson scored 16 points to lead the Bears to their 16th win of the season with a 56-32 victory over McMahon on Monday. Up next is the Bears' biggest test this season. It'll be up against Trumbull tonight with a chance to earn the top spot in the conference.
All right, let's stick with a couple of wrestlers here. Alex Steele of Fairfield Ward. He was named the most outstanding wrestler in the lighter weight classes after winning the 132-pound championship at the Joe Sikorsky FCAC wrestling tournament this weekend. Steele, the number 2 seed, went 3-0 in the tournament, and he knocked off top-seeded Kyle Fields of Danbury 5-4 in his final match.
And we go back to Greenwich High School for Greenwich track and field. Emily Philippides. Philippides had a hand in 3 victories as the Greenwich Cardinals won the Class L meet for their first ever state championship in track and field on Saturday in New Haven. Philippides, a senior, was first in the 1,000-meter run with a time of 2 minutes and 57 seconds and was part of the winning 4x400 and sprint medley relay teams.
All right, Tamond Williams of the Trumbull boys basketball team went for 30 points in the Eagles' huge win over Fairfield Ward, 76-69 on Friday night. Williams also added 6 assists and 6 rebounds. Trumbull improved to 13-3 and are within 2 games now of clinching a playoff spot.
And last but not least of the FCAC female nominees we'll see here tonight as well from Trumbull basketball, Julie Keckler. Keckler scored 14 points and had 9 rebounds when the Eagles defeated Wilton 59-42 on Monday. Keckler had 10 points when Trumbull defeated Ward on Friday. And next up for Keckler is tonight. And the Trumbull Eagles will take on the Norwalk Bears in a game to determine who's going to win the FCAC regular season championship.
All right, and our final nominee of the Richfield wrestling team is Simon Preston, who scored 3 straight pinfall victories and captured the 160 championship at the FCAC tournament this weekend. Preston, also a number 2 seed, upset top-seeded Isaac Zuckerman of Fairfield Ward. After trailing for much of the match, he won on a pin with just 2 seconds remaining in the second period of the championship. Those are your 8 nominees for Week 6. Make sure you go online at 3 o'clock when the voting opens up. Submit who you want to see named as the Athlete of the Week. Also want to offer congratulations Tess Stapleton of the Ludlow Indoor Track and Field team and Jake Ritz of the New Canaan Boys Swimming team. They were your winners for week number 5. So good luck to everyone in the voting this week. Kev, we're going to take a break. When we get back, John Kovacs will join us. Mike Suppy chimes in as well. You guys are going to look back on what was a great weekend in New Canaan at the Joe Sikorsky FCAC Wrestling Tournament. That's coming up next on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Voted Best Gourmet to Go in Fairfield County, Palmer's extensive menu offers everything you'll need to make your next event easy and delicious. Whether you're hosting a small get-together or planning a large celebration, they've got you covered breakfast through dessert. Order online at palmersdarien.com or call 203-655-2077. Vote.
Yeah, Dad.
Kyle, I need you to update the financial statements.
I took care of that yesterday, Dad.
Mac, I need you to get those deals approved.
They're all done, Mr. Miller.
Jeff, I need you to order lunch for the meeting. They can't do a thing without me.
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
I'm never going to retire.
UK Gourmet is the largest specialty grocer in the area, featuring food from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Over 80 teas to choose from and a brilliant assortment of biscuits to go with them. Over 70 cheeses from grass-fed cows, which makes a smashing difference in taste. The creamiest chocolate you'll ever taste using no artificial colors or preservatives. So say hooray for UK Gourmet, 78 Stony Hill Road in Bethel, or visit ukgourmet.us. Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HN Network. Frank takes his seat for a moment. Hopping in now is John Kovac, and we're also going to have our director Mike Suppy chime in as well from what we saw this past weekend over at New Canaan High School for the FCAC Wrestling Championships. And John, just quickly, your overall thoughts. I thought you and Bill Bloxham and Mike Suppy did a terrific job on the call. What was your original thought leaving the gym on Saturday night driving home?
I mean, tremendous competition. You really saw the best of the best. Virtually all of the finals matches were tight. The one pin that we had happened with 2 seconds left in the final period. There was only one match that really was one-sided. I thought it was a tremendous day of wrestling, and I think the fact that you had 9 of the 14 teams represented had an individual champion, I think says a lot. Mike, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a little closer up top, team score-wise, than I thought it would be. But Danbury took control in the finals, winning I think 5 out of their 6 finals matches. And Ward faltered a little bit, winning just 1, so that allowed Danbury to widen the gap a little. But again, it was a very competitive tournament. We had every school was well represented, and a lot of medalists from each school. Yeah,
you see on the screen right here, you got your team scores. Danbury claiming their 8th straight FCAC title, defeating the rest of the field. Ward finishing at 202. And John, at a time, it was a lot closer there. Danbury and Ward, I think it was, Danbury was up by 19, I believe, at one point. But
it was 19 going into the finals, and then it took off from there. There we see Alex Steele. Alex was most outstanding wrestler.
And you see him claiming the FCAC title on the 132 there.
This is the pin. And this, some people questioned. It was Simon Preston of Ridgefield. 2 seconds left. He's going to score the fall here. And Jason Shaughnessy, the Fairfield Ward coach, not happy with that. Both referees in agreement. And, I mean, you could just see the shock on Izaki Zuckerman's face there.
Right. And, you mentioned it, 3 seconds. That's where the pin, right at the end of it there.
But once your shoulders hit, it's fall, correct, Mike?
It was a pin to me. I thought it was a pin in real time. You saw him, he had his shoulders on the mat. It was brief, but to me that was a pin.
I think the reaction, too, from the coaching staff, from the Tigers, Gary Tiger and Travis Tiger, too,
was
really pretty cool.
Now we have an end here. 4 overtimes before.
And this is your favorite.
Oh, the 285 match.
285 was excellent. I think that really energized the crowd. You got everyone almost circling around the entire mat, cheering for both Harrington and Stewart. It was a really, really cool match to watch, and it lasted a good maybe 10 to 12 minutes.
It went all 3 periods. But you had a couple of stoppages because Harrington's headgear kept breaking. Harrington does come away with the 6-3 decision, 32-0 after that match. But they went after each other like bulls. And then this was the weight class that surprised people. Everybody expected Jacob Camacho to be here. He got beat by the freshman Justin Mastriani of New Canaan, who then ekes out a 3-2 decision over Nick Rendy of Wilton here. And just a tremendous match. Mike, I think in talking Friday, we all really thought it was Camacho's weight class to lose.
Yeah, there was a report that he was stricken with the flu during the tournament. Nothing against Mastriani, who went out there and won a 6-4 decision, but it didn't appear Camacho was at the top of his game. And knowing what I know about Danbury wrestling and Jacob Camacho, seeing him wrestle for 4 years, Division I wrestler, I don't think he's going to hang his head too low about losing in the FCAC tournament, because he's got his sights set on states and then opens and then New England's and then nationals and then his collegiate wrestling career, which is coming up after that. But it was a great job by Mastriani, who's a freshman, making a name for himself. But I wouldn't take too much away from it from that win.
No, I mean Camacho's still the wrestler to beat at 126 once we get to the class meet, the Double L's, which is at Trumbull High School this coming weekend, and then you get to the State Open. I mean, the match to me, the 4 overtime, the Brent Nutter versus Joe Janai match at 195, which we showed right before the
285 highlights. 3-2, an escape in the fourth overtime there. Gives the nod to Nutter. And then it had been kind of a quiet night, and then at 2:20, Nick Cortman from New Canaan wins a 6-2 decision over Monty Osby of Danbury, and the gym started to come alive, and you started to really feel a buzz. And then at 285 match came, and you had Harrington and Stewart just charge at each other like a couple of rams on the mountainside,
no pun intended,
and just keep going after each other and after each other and after each other and after each other for 6 minutes. I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch. Everybody was talking about that match.
And you look at War, you look at Danbury, they finished 1-2, Danbury 1, War 2, and you always expect those two teams to be there. How about New Canaan finishing third? Cortman, Mastriani, those two players, those two wrestlers, certainly helped New Canaan get that third spot. That's got to be a huge accomplishment.
Oh, it's
for the Rams wrestling program.
It's big for the Rams to get that many wrestlers as deep into the tournament as they got. What happens in the FCAC, what we run into, it's always Danbury.
Right.
It's always Ward right there. And then all of the other ones are churning through cycles. And they'll have a good year. They'll finish third. They'll finish fourth. They might finish second. And then they'll slip back down to the pack for a couple of years. And then cycle back through. And it's like everybody's cycling through to finish second, finish third.
Right, and I think you look at it for New Canaan, having a freshman beat Camacho like that, and Mike, I'll even ask you, that's got to be huge for this New Canaan program moving forward.
Yeah, they have a lot of talented underclassmen. Not only Mastriani, but one of the best wrestlers in the state, Tyler Sung, who also won his championship bout at 138. New Canaan wrestled really well in the finals. Coach Paul Gallo had his guys ready. They won 3 out of their 4 finals matches. Stewart was the only guy who lost. But the lighter weight guys and then Cortman, they did a great job out there picking up big wins. And it was just a good job by them to get past Trumbull and Wilton, who also have strong teams.
And you see Trumbull there finishing 4th, Wilton finishing out the top 5. Richfield finished 6th. I thought, you look back at that matchup for the Richfield Tigers, that last pin there, what a big moment that was for the Tigers, because for Coach Gary Tiger and Travis Tiger, knowing them, this past couple years have been a little tough for the Richfield Tigers wrestling program. To have them climb up like that, I think that's huge for the wrestling program there at Richfield as well, just like New Canaan.
It is, and to get back to what Mike said, Tyler Sung, 5-1 decision over Matt Ryan of Trumbull at 138. Another good match, tight matches throughout the afternoon and evening.
It was a great tournament, being a part of it. I think like I said, you, Mike, and Bill did a terrific job, going through each match. It was a long day Saturday, but you guys really did an excellent job breaking it down.
It was a fun day.
It was a fun day, and I have to say, being in the background, watching you do the 285 matchup was a blast, and I know you were having fun doing that,
two big guys crashing into each other, it's not that hard. Not that hard to enjoy.
All right, guys, we're going to step aside when we come back. Frank will come back in. John, it was always a pleasure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mike, nice job as well. Guys, great job this weekend. We're going to step aside when we come back. We're going to break down tonight's big matchup between the Trumbull Eagles and the Norwalk Bears. All that coming up next on Nutmeg Sports on the HNA Network.
Well, there's still a bite out on the water. Most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
At Rings End, we say it's time to re-love your home. Time to refresh and reinvigorate the way you live. And whether you're redoing something big or small, remember the letters RE stand for Rings End. We're the new model in home remodeling.
Dr. Stephen Molinaro and Peter Healy of Family Practice Dentistry and Laser Dental Care have served Ridgefield for over 22 years. Experienced staff offer gentle drillless techniques, preventative care, and cosmetic procedures in a relaxed environment. Grateful for the community's trust and support through the years, new patients and their families are welcome. Call today. Dr. Stephen.
Back on Nutmeg Sports on the HA Network. Thank you again to John Kovac, Mike Suppy. Great job again this weekend. But turning our eyes forward now, we look at the week that is, and let's start with the big game tonight, Kevin. It'll be our first look at the defending conference champion Trumbull Eagles and our first look at the Norwalk Bears since last year's FCIAC quarterfinals. Both of them sitting at 13-1 in FCIAC play. They're 17-1 on the year. Can you lean one way or the other right now heading into this game?
I can't, because they're so similar. I mean, not just record-wise, but I think you look at the playing style of both teams. You know, defense comes first on both sides, and we saw a lot of that last year with Trumbull, getting our first real taste of both teams this year, and looking forward to seeing how they come. And this is, I believe it's going to be, I was thinking about this last night, and I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game tonight because both teams defensively are so strong, especially Trumbull. You know, I think Norwalk is a team that has had success early in the game throughout this season. They get out to quick leads. I don't think that's going to happen tonight. I think you're going to see both teams, have a little bit of difficulty running their offense just because of how good both team defenses are. So I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to get out to that early lead. But Trumbull at home obviously has a little bit of the advantage just because I think they're obviously used to playing on their home court. They have the home fans. They have the support. But I think it's Julie Keckler and Ashley McGuire. The two of them have been great leaders on this squad this year, putting in great minutes on that championship run last year for the Eagles. So I lean a little bit to Trumbull tonight just because they're at home. But, man, Norwalk is a team that if you let them get out to an early lead, they don't look back.
Well, it's so funny. So you look at where they sit, all right, let's compare their losses. Norwalk lost against Fairfield Ward, but that was 14 games ago. Oh, by the way, they lost 48-47. So they're only lost this year by 1 point. And, of course, Ward is currently sitting fourth in the conference, 11-3. Yeah. Trumbull on the other side, their only losses against Ridgefield. That's a Ridgefield team that has really pieced it together of late. Trumbull's only lost this year by 1 point. And Ridgefield currently sitting in sixth.
Again, that just shows how similar these two teams are. You're going to see it tonight. It's going to be very back and forth. I don't expect to see either team have run away with this game at all. I think it's going to go down to the wire, really close game. I'm excited to see, Trumbull was a question mark coming into this year, considering who they lost due to graduation. I think Coach Tobish has done a terrific job revamping this roster. I'm excited to see the young talent on this team that I don't think gets enough credit because, obviously Julie Keckler, Ashley McGuire, Brittany Ann Lynch, they deserve the credit. They've done a great job as seniors, but it's the sophomores and juniors, I think, who have stepped up for the Eagles this year. Looking forward to seeing the players who come off the bench. A lot of subbing, too, for the Eagles tonight. And, of course, Norwalk as well. Ashley Wilson is a player I'm really looking forward to watching tonight.
You're right. And I don't know that we would say I could agree we didn't know what to expect from Trumbull. I don't think anyone saw them falling out of playoff contention or that far off. But to be able to replicate the success they had last season and, piece it together as quickly as they did. They started out 14-0 this year. Or, 13-0. So, obviously, there were a lot of right things being done by the Eagles, and Coach Tobish does a great job. But for Norwalk, I said this, I thought this was a very motivated Norwalk squad. You think back to that tough loss in the FCI quarterfinals against Fairfield Ward in a game where the Bears played so well and literally just came up short again by a single basket. I felt this was a Norwalk team that saw how good they could be, realized their potential, and everyone bought in, and they've gotten tremendous leadership from their seniors. Asia Vega, Ashley Wilson have been so good stepping up and leading for the Bears. I think this is maybe a two-possession game at most. Yeah. I think it is going to be really tight. I don't have to say it. Free throws are going to be huge, but it's going to be the turnover margin for me. Yep. Both these teams can be very lethal in transition. Points off turnovers will be a stat to watch tonight. I think that could determine who has the edge at the end of it. And
we know Trumbull, how good they are on the points over turnovers. I mean, last year in that championship run, the FCIAC tournament, they torched some teams, and that's how they beat. That's how they were able to beat Stanford, disrupting the Black Knights, who were favored in that game, and they were able to cause some turnovers. And I think that's how Trumbull is winning games again this year, just because of their defense. It's so strong. Julie Keckler leading the way again, one of the top players in the conference on both ends of the floor. She brings a lot of energy to the floor every night, every game. So she's a good leader. But again, for Norwalk, these two teams are also similar because they have players who are going to be back again next year. They have a lot of talent. Ashley Wilson, only a junior. There's Belinda Hunt, she's only a sophomore. Good players on this Norwalk team for another year to come, maybe more. And for Trumbull as well, more players on this roster that are going to be big impacts, not only this year, but for next year as well.
Couple other big games on the calendar tonight. Wilton and Danbury in girls hoops. That a big game, Kevin, purely because the Hatters clinging to playoff life right now. They need to win tonight. Wilton not much to play for here. The Warriors are sitting at third in the conference. They're 2 games behind Norwalk and Trumbull. Both those schools hold the tiebreaker over them. So a loss for Danbury, and they are done. They will be eliminated from playoff contention. Another huge game, Ludlow and Staples.
Yeah.
That game tonight, 7 p.m. at Staples. The Wreckers sitting at 10-5. They have clinched a playoff spot in 7th place. Ludlow right behind them, 8-6, a win, and they are in tonight against the Wreckers. Win, and they're in, Coleman. I can hear the Falcon cry coming.
Listen, I'm telling you, this is a message to the Lady Falcons. If you guys get in, we're doing the Falcon call together. All right.
I don't think they do actual Falcon calls. It's just going to be a thing that you do.
No.
It's going to be like
the
Coleman cry. We'll have you. That'll be a thing, right? Suppy, write this down now. The Coleman Cry, the surprise team of the year, whatever your mascot is, Kevin Coleman will replicate that sound it makes. I'm intrigued to see what you're going to do for the Hatters.
I'll wear a hat. How about that?
Boys hockey, playoff race getting interesting over there. You look at what the standings are right now. It's very, very tight. There's a big game going on at the moment. Greenwich and Northwest Catholic are playing today. But Staples currently sitting in first place, 13 points. Right behind them, you've got Greenwich. That's in the West Division, right behind them, Greenwich. Ridgefield leads the conference with 14 points. Darien right behind them with 13. Then you've got New Canaan, West Hill, Stanford, Fairfield, all with 8. One of those teams with 8 is going to be out. You look at it right now, and who is going to be the odd team out in that scenario?
It's hard to imagine an FCI tournament without the New Canaan Rams.
We said that last year about Darien, remember, though?
Right. I think the Rams are getting it. I like Fairfield, though. They've had a great season as well, the co-op. That's a tough time.
What's big for Fairfield, remember, Fairfield did beat New Canaan already. So they have that tiebreaker, should it come down to that.
It's hard. You look at West Hill, Stanford, Fairfield, co-op, and New Canaan all sitting with 8. It's a tough call here. I like Fairfield and I like New Canaan. I'm going to say West Hill Stanford is the odd team out.
Fairfield and West Hill will play next Wednesday on the 21st. New Canaan, favorable stretch down the end. They came back after losing to Darien 3-2 on Friday. They beat Trumbull 6-2 Saturday. They now have Wilton, St. Joe's, and Norwalk McMahon. Their 3 remaining conference games. Have to figure they'll be favored in those. That would put them up to 14 points, probably safely in, because West Hill and Stanford, West Hill and Fairfield, they're going to play against each other. So it'll be. It's going to be tight down the stretch.
And the big surprise has to be Staples, right? I mean, they've had a great season. I think they were with Weston. Is that right? Their co-op last year. Were they with Weston?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. With Shelton and Weston.
Okay.
Yes.
So to come off like that, this is a huge year for the program and for Ridgefield too. Believe me, after seeing them opening night against Fairfield Prep, I wasn't sure what to expect from the Tigers, considering how many seniors they lost last year to graduation. They've done a tremendous job. Coach Gallagher, again, doing a nice job in Greenwich. A lot of firepower there. I like the Cardinals, too, in the playoffs.
We'll dive more into all of that tomorrow. We'll also get to boys basketball. We got a big one coming up Wednesday this week. Central and Stanford.
Central's taking on Truly tonight. That's a big game. That's an interesting game.
That'll definitely be another good one. Kevin and I are back this evening, 6:50. We are on the air from the Trumbull High School gym. It'll be Trumbull and Norwalk, the girls' regular season championship on the line. Who's going to be the #1 seed? We'll find out tonight on the home of FCS Sports. Kevin Coleman, John Kovacs, Mike Suppy, I'm Frank Granito. See you next time on the ESPN Network.